Yeah, so we got Todwop
Hello.
Big
on
whoop.
the podcast today. This is Charles Community Podcast number 12. Your
How's it going?
boy Todd, the moderator, the owner of the
About
Trials
time.
Discord, right?
About time I got on this thing.
It's blasphemy that he wasn't on sooner. You're right. Absolute insanity.
Jesus, Kevin's been here a while.
Why, Kevin? Why for that long? You're nuts, dude. But yeah, Todd, tell me a little bit about yourself, about like the Discord. When did you even start up the Discord? I don't think I even
Well, I
know when
didn't even
that
start the
happened.
Discord. This Discord was originally started by Scott, and Scott was the owner for quite a while, and just started off pretty small. Uh, I joined, there was like maybe two or three moderators, but that's all that was needed.
Hmm.
Grief was one of the moderators, and then after a while, Scott passed over ownership to Grief, and this was maybe 3 or 4 months before I took over. Grief was he was the owner the whole time, but he noticed himself that he was getting less and less active with the Discord, so he eventually just decided that he wasn't really going to be playing Trials as much. He wasn't going to be active in the Discord, so he just made the executive decision to give me ownership, and on the same day he also gave moderator status to encryptors and Dral.
Hmm.
And that's kind of from there. That's where he worked from.
How's it been like moderating a community such as the Trials one?
Well, it's toxic to say the least, but it's been good. It was really quiet for the first couple of months when I took over, and then
I mean, you're the person that's like dealing with most of the troublemakers, right? Do you feel like it's
essentially,
you
yeah,
and encryptors?
me and well, at the moment it's myself, Dral, and Blix would be kind of the ones dealing with anything kind of troublesome.
Uh-huh.
Blix is doing a killer job since he came on the moderator team, but like you could see some of the messages in my Discord, and a lot of them are not very friendly at all. But like before Rising was announced, it was quiet, very quiet, like maybe 25 to 30 active Met users. And then as soon as E3 happened and Rising got announced,
It just
it
blew up.
it,
How many people
it
joined
grew.
the Discord since
Um,
like Rising's release?
give or take 300, 400.
Ooh.
I haven't even seen the figures for the exact amount of people in the server now, but there is quite a lot compared to the 120. Oh, my bad. No, there's 831 members at the moment, and there was maybe 300 before Rising's announced.
Wow.
So we more than doubled in size since.
That's awesome, man. Like, is it important to uh, laying down some ground rules? Like, how did you go about like what type of rules do you think should be established in a Discord community such as the Trials one?
Well, with Rising's announcement, I was talking a lot to Blix about this because myself and him had a discussion about changes we should make to the Discord. And we decided, because we knew we were going to get a big flow of new members that hadn't been in the Discord before, that we needed to definitely change some things up and make it a bit more open and accessible to everyone that wants to join, as opposed to just the set group of people in the community that know each other already.
Yeah.
So we decided to implement some rules basing the Discord itself on the age rating of the game. So it's kind of like, say, for where I am, that's 13s or whatever. So basically, the server itself is aimed at people 13 and older, which is why we had to get rid of the not safe for work memes section, because the only lock on that channel was tick a box to confirm that you're over 18. Simple as. So we really needed to get rid of that because we didn't want people coming in and getting the wrong idea
I
of
had
what
a
the server actually
I
was.
had a not safe for work in my Discord for literally one day, and I was like, nah, this ain't gonna fly with
Yeah,
me. Like,
yeah,
but it's funny because like in my streams, it's typically catered to an older audience for the most part,
yeah,
like definitely above 18, I would say, because I'm cursing all the time.
yeah.
We're talking about, hentai, we're talking about like just the funniest shit with like, I don't know.
Just shit that you wouldn't be wanting a 13-year-old to hear.
Exactly. That, yeah, you wouldn't expect um to to like be approved, you know, by everybody's parents, of course. But
Yeah,
you know, that's
exactly.
that's the type of community that I've established, and I like being myself and just like kind of, you know, just shit talking and whatnot,
Yeah,
just having a good time. But yeah, you can't really do that with such a big Discord,
yeah,
such
especially
as
because it's a
this.
community Discord, so it is specified that it's community, so it's not representative of red links or anyone at all. But like, it's a community Discord, so it's meant to be for every single person in the Trials community, not
Hmm.
just kind of a specific group. So like, we had to make it as welcoming and as comfortable for everyone as we could.
Yeah.
Well, I'm no longer comfortable because Pogplant got removed. So,
Yeah.
what was the sort of decision behind that?
Trying to base a server off of a PG-13 age rating.
Yeah, Pogplant's. Nah, Pogplant's like 8 and over, I think, isn't
Oh
it?
man, trust me, it hurt me to delete that emote. It hurt me so much.
Bring it back.
It's a
Make
giant
a return.
eggplant going into Pepe's mouth, right?
Yeah, it's a great emote, but oh god.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, there's nothing stopping someone who's got nitro or whatever the fuck it's called
Yeah,
from just dropping it in anyway. So, you know, why are you sort of like holding us back?
I don't know. Judging by like, it's kind of, since people have started kind of not being too happy with how Rising has gone, it's been much less active. So at this stage now, the last thing I'm really concerned, well, the last thing anyone's really concerned about is adding emotes back into the server.
Todd, are you playing Trials right now?
A little bit.
I'm like, wait a second. I hear the sticks just getting flicked around right now.
The question is,
Which one though?
Is
which
it loud?
trials?
I'm currently playing Trials Evolution.
The heathen! Ban him!
God damn it!
God, he's not a part of the new unit. He's gone. He's reverted back.
I'll switch to Rising, I promise.
The madman.
I would
No,
have gone the other way. If you said Ryzen, I would have fucking kicked you from the call like instantly.
no. That's totally acceptable. Todd, what are your thoughts on Evolution so far?
Evolution going backwards compatible is one of the best things I've ever experienced, because
Like in your life or like in gaming history?
in my life, in my sad life, in games, because I've been playing Trials since the day HD came out, and Evolution was always my favorite, even up until Fusion, etc. So now when it came back, there was that initial burst of nostalgia, and it's just so much fun to play, especially because with the way with Rising, you can't do the same sort of, like, you can't do the same things in Ninja as you can in Fusion and Evo. So
yeah, they were much more similar with the physics, definitely.
It's allowing me to get back into kind of what I really liked doing in Trials.
Interesting shit.
Not even interesting. Like, if I was a speedrunner, I'd be playing Rising every single day. It's just, I'm not a speedrunner. I have no interest in it. I build ninjas and I play ninjas. So that's kind of, at the moment, Evo feels so much cleaner for me for just that one specific thing, playing ninjas. But everything else, like customization wise, I'd go with Rising.
Customization isn't horrific in Evo. Better than Fusion.
We counted it the other day, including DLC clothing. There are 18 shirts in total that you can get. The customization is pretty poor.
18 shirts isn't terrible. Like,
it's not.
There's probably about 18 shirts in Ryzen. The only difference is that you can stick with them.
And you can't change the color of like 6 of the 18 shirts in Evo.
Could be worse, you know, could be Fusion.
Could be Fusion, exactly.
So did you play Evo quite a bit when it first came out?
Yeah, I got Evo the day it dropped again and played it religiously until Fusion came out, essentially. And even when Fusion came out, I still had a 360, and this is like the Xbox One came out.
And you still went back and still played a lot of Evo.
Evo, just because I had things on Evo that I wanted to do, like the Ultimate Endurance tourney, which is like 20 tracks. I was trying my best to zero fault that entire tournament, and then all that kind of thing. I ended up, like, by the time I stopped playing Evo, Fusion had been out for a good couple of months.
Hey, what's up, Surf Tiki? Long time no see, man. And I
thank you, my guy.
Should probably announce all the other peeps. Murdoch and Zach, Czar. Welcome back, you guys. Thanks for joining us again. But yeah, going back to Evo. So you built a track just recently on Evo, and
Yes, I
you
did.
are in the middle of making a level 5 ninja now.
Yeah, I am indeed. I'm
How's that coming along?
currently looking at a finished checkpoint 4 on my level 5. So I'm actually making really quick pace through it. Like I find myself building so much faster in Evo because the game is old and backwards compatible. I'm not focusing on doing any decoration whatsoever. I'm just focusing on the driving lines because I'd rather spend 20 hours on a driving line and pump it out as opposed to 20 hours on a driving line and then 30 more hours on decoration to then pump it out.
Yeah. Kevin was asking about the Trials Evolution of PS4. Do you think that'll ever happen?
No.
I think it's
Yes.
Microsoft exclusive, right? So
No, it's not.
isn't it?
It used
I
to
don't see
be.
it happening. I wouldn't see that happening.
I think it's coming to. I think they're going to re-release it. I think Ubisoft bought the rights to it, and now they can do whatever the fuck they want with it.
Well, that
I was
would be pretty sweet.
I was talking to the Red Links guys in the Red Link stream the other day, and I was asking them like, do they have any idea why you're not allowed to stream Evo, and if you record clips, they often delete themselves and stuff like that. There's obviously there's some sort of thing on Evo now to stop it being broadcast, and they said to me like that's nothing to do with them. That's all Microsoft.
Surf Tiku is hoping for the Todd cam. Todd, have you posted a picture on Discord of yourself?
I have, but it's quite old. If you just my Twitter name is Todwop, so just you can find me on Twitter if you want. There's
Follow
a
Todd
more
on Twitter.
up-to-date
I'll
photo
I'll
there.
add that in the description and stuff. Everybody
Yeah,
follow Todd.
go for it.
Make sure.
All I do is tweet about music. I don't tweet about trials, so
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
That was gonna be like another like off-topic type of question I had for you. So, what is your job right now, Todd? What do you do
Okay, so
for a
I
living?
technically have 2 jobs at the moment.
Oh, okay.
I work in a factory. It's production line, simple making board games. That's my main job. But then on the side, I have a weekend job where I'm a sound engineer, and I do sound for live bands, DJs. I do light technician work as well,
Nice.
and that one doesn't pay very well at all because it's once a week
Like
at most.
minimum wage.
Not
pay
even
for
minimum wage. It's kind of like just cash in hand at the end of the night kind of job.
Oh, gotcha.
So that one's more of a passion project than anything else because I've been doing that for 5 years now.
Well, honestly, like the cash in hand type of stuff that I've done with like coaching baseball and stuff, I usually get paid decently. Like I
You're
would
lucky.
like I would umpire baseball games, and I would go to camps and like teach middle schooler or high schoolers how to hit or catch or throw the ball properly. But like I'd get maybe, I think it was like $20 like an hour, but like that doesn't happen very often. It's
Yeah,
pretty
see,
it's pretty minimal, the amount of work.
with me doing sound and lights, it's dependent on how well the gig, like the concert itself, does. So if I'm doing sound for a band and they get a crowd of 200, I'll get paid so much more money than I will if they get a crowd of 20.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different every single week, but it's a really fun job considering I've worked with like 500 plus bands in the past 5 years and never had to pay to see a single one of them.
Oh my gosh.
It's a pretty great thing for that.
What's your favorite
And
type of music, Todd?
I'd say most people know me now for the fact that my favorite type of music is just very, very, very heavy metal music. So
Like the good old like
yeah, exactly.
exactly like that.
Like
Okay.
if you want specific genres, you'd be looking at metalcore, deathcore, and hardcore would be the 3 main ones.
All right. Sweet. Like, what's the best concert that you've ever been to? Was it one of these events that you were helping
No,
with the sound?
God, no. Nah, I've been to a lot of concerts. I think the last time I tried to make a list, I had a list of like 164 bands that I've seen live, and like that's being like kind of international bands more so than anything else. And the best one I've ever been to was a small enough gig in a bar called Knock Loose. So they're a big band in America, getting bigger by the weeks, but I saw them in Dublin in November of 2018, but that they just had this rule where whenever they play a show, you're like, there's no barrier between you and them. You're allowed to get up on stage with them. You're allowed to jump off the stage. You're allowed to do everything like that. So that gig was just the most energetic gig I've ever been to, and by far the most memorable for me.
You did some crowd surfing in it?
Yeah, there's a video of me somewhere on YouTube front flipping off the stage. So yeah.
No way.
And no,
dude, post that to the Discord, please. Todd, I have to see that.
Find that video.
Todd doesn't want to look. He's embarrassed.
I can try and find it.
That would be so funny. I'd love to see that.
It's not something I like seeing, though. A video of me like just after drinking way too much and then flipping off the stage.
The best event that I went to that Polyphia concert, and that was just such a treat. And I didn't expect this, but they had these bodyguards up on the stage, like, basically, like helping people do stage dives and making sure that they didn't run into like the musicians and stuff while they were like partying hard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
At this show, it was cool. It was just like, if you got up on stage and you got too close to the band would push you off the stage back into the crowd. Like it was, but the crowd was so packed that like if you were to get pushed off the stage, you'd be caught by at least 15, 20 people.
Nice. Surf Tiki is asking you about seafood. If you have any favorites for seafood.
I'm a big fan of calamari. Big fan of calamari.
Nice. I just had some pasta, some calamari.
I love all seafood in general. Like I've never found a seafood I didn't like, but calamari is just the one.
I think shrimp's my favorite. I just had some shrimp tacos a couple nights ago over at a Mexican restaurant.
I've never had Mexican food.
You've never had a burrito before? Or a taco? Ever?
I've never had a burrito or a taco. No, they don't. Like, they're not.
They don't have those?
Things over here.
Over there?
Like, if I went to Dublin, I could probably get them, but now, like, where I live, not a chance.
How about you, Cab?
Yo. Sorry, I was distracted.
It's all good. How about the seafood? Any favorites?
I hate seafood. I hate fish and chips, but that's about as far as I'll go.
Okay, fair enough. And then Surf Tiki's asking about any beard care tips for the viewers or listeners.
I've got a pretty poor beard.
With me,
I can't comment.
I like to trim it up once a week. I like to keep at least a stubble. I don't ever clean shave it. Let's see. I have to work the cheek a little bit. I have to I have this I don't know, you get like almost like a nose hair trimmer, like the type of attachment that you can add onto it to get it like really fine details, like get the line just right on the cheek.
Yeah.
But the problem for me is my neck. So I have more hair that goes down the right side of my neck, and it's just such a nuisance. But
I just kind of I always make sure just to keep the cheeks trimmed in, just so it doesn't start to look like, just so I don't look homeless.
Yeah, I looked like that quite a bit in college.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, pretty much.
And leave the chin and the neck kind of grow a bit more.
Yeah,
keeps it looking tidy at least.
And if it's really scattered, I think if you have really patchy beard, like just keep shaving it over and over again until it grows back in like more thicker. Because when you shave it, it's gonna grow in thicker like each time basically. But it takes it's a pretty long process of it to grow back in a certain way that like the hairs get a lot more coarse.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. What's up, babe?
Very off topic very quickly.
I know, but you know that's a direction I honestly am trying to take with this podcast. Like I do want to talk about trial stuff.
Just let it kind of wander.
And just wander with it, exactly. Like I know, Cab, you talked about how we want it to be a lot more casual and like have it be free flowing and stuff. And I think one way to do that is to just be able to talk about, you know, personal hobbies, other shit that just like pops up randomly. I think I like that stuff a lot too. I don't want to have it just bogged down too much with exclusively trials, but I do want to still talk about certain things. You know, I have a few topics for trials, and then we have like one other off-topic thing, but we just go wherever with it. It's a fucking podcast. Like,
yeah, exactly.
We can just kind of wander with whatever on there. But I think I did have some other questions related to trials if we want to get back to that really quickly.
Definitely.
Cool. I'm good for that.
I dropped
So-
you a message, by the way, Todd, on Discord.
Yeah, I'm curious. What is that?
So with
Oh shit! Don't bother
building
clicking
and
it
stuff,
now. Never mind.
With-
Don't bother.
with builders and whatnot, like
Oh, it's back.
like you're a really high rated builder, like in the Trials community for sure, Todd. And
Cool.
and I
I'd
like to
think
just
so.
and I like to ask people, like, you know, each time they come on, like, you know, Cab, I've talked to him a lot about building, and talked to Zach a lot
Yeah.
about building. Just like, what are your tips for people getting into building, either for the first time or like even if you're advanced? Like, how do you keep pushing yourself to become an even better builder, in your personal opinion?
Well, starting off, like when you're getting into it, I found like just the easiest way to get into building is just to go in, find a flat piece of ground, don't worry about how it looks, don't worry about anything, and then just start pick yourself, give yourself maybe 5 or 6 objects, like just a few cubes, or even use or primes if you wanted to, and just focus on making obstacles and kind of learning how positioning works, how placing works, everything like that. And then once you can kind of get used to making obstacles, you can then start piecing things together to try and make some checkpoints, make a track, do whatever you feel like. The last thing, like once you're comfortable making obstacles or a driving line, then maybe then start working on a bit of like decoration, even if the decoration is just supporting your obstacles and making sure they're not floating. And just, you got to work from the basics. Once you have like the minimal bit of decoration down, you can focus on giving a setting or a theme. And it's a very awkward thing to get into. Once you get into it, like once you start getting into it, it will just click with you, and you'll kind of start to realize what to do. And one of the biggest tips I can give to people is, even if you think what you're building is shit or awful, just release it anyway. Release it, get some feedback, because a lot of the people in the community will give constructive criticism as opposed to just say, this is terrible, don't make tracks. And
Depends how bad it is.
Yeah, it depends on how bad it is. But
If it looks like you've tried, then fair enough. But if it's like actually shit, then.
But if you go back to like my first fusion tracks from like, I don't know, like early 2015 or 2016 or 2015 or whatever it was, they're absolutely awful. They are like the most appeasing things you've ever seen. And then, but I just stuck at it because it's like, if I wanted to get into building and I enjoyed doing it, so I just stuck with it. Started playing, or started like mimicking techniques of builders that I liked. So I started like I liked throttle tracks a lot when I first started doing ninjas, so I started building throttle tracks. And then again, once you get comfortable with building what you're good at, you can then start working on kind of what you're not good at, and you'll notice like you're going to improve at everything in the game. It just from building alone. Like if you build an obstacle that you're not good at doing, just from testing it out, you'll suddenly start developing a new skill, and you'll just get better at everything, really. It's kind of just keep up with it, basically. If you want to get into building, just keep doing it. Try and get constructive criticism off of other builders. And that's
What was your
key
first
success right there.
What was your first build that you were like really proud of?
The first track that I was proud of building, I think, was Dead Ringer.
Mm-hmm.
That was like
I
the
remember that
first
one a lot.
track where I was like, I'm gonna actually put some sort of effort into decorating it and making it look like a theme. And that track, I thought that track came out pretty nicely. I had or even Kaem, which was, I know it's Caem. It was like one of the first ninjas I built. Had a floating driving line, but it was suspended by chains, so it's okay. But
Yeah, of course that makes it okay. Don't go into the free camera and just look up. Just don't.
don't do that. I remember I released that track, and I got a guy who went into the trials like Twitch chat, and Zach was there, and he's like, "Yeah, I liked the track a lot." And then Cabbage was like, "Why is everything floating?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." You know? But yeah, that was like the first actual ninja track I built. Well, second actual ninja track I built. I think it came out relatively okay, but like that's kind of what set the scene for me for kind of like what I was going to keep doing.
Well, you know that you inspired Major Pickle, right?
No, did I?
Yeah, he talked about
That's the first
you.
time hearing of that.
Yeah, he talked about you in the last podcast, he says he gets a lot of inspiration for his decoration and driving lines from you. So just know that one person has definitely been inspired and like builds because of you.
That's good to hear. Really good to hear.
Anybody else in this chat inspired by Todd's builds? Because I know Pickle really liked
Slick Side.
the whole like hill climb scenarios that you make, like just really simple but like really solid climb tracks that you got. It's a must play for like all your tracks so far.
That's pretty much pretty much all of my like level 2s and level 3s are all just climb tracks for the most part. Like Deadringer, Oblivion's Peak, all of them are just they're not even climb tracks, they're just like heavily throttle based.
So how about so are like the tracks that you have created, are those some of your greatest achievements that you've had in trials? Like, is that how you get the most satisfaction out of the game, is building stuff?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Like the best thing for trials, like I feel going over I passed like a hard level 4, like a track that's harder than anything I've passed before, and it was good. Like then like we say when you see somebody like a big name player like say Scott or someone like that, or GT4 or anyone upload a YouTube video of one of your tracks and all the comments are really positive, like there's just that's the best feeling. Seeing like one of the best I've ever had was when GT4 uploaded a video of Amber 1 and Amber 2 together and him zero faulting both of them. That was just like mind blowing to me, because it's just mad that this guy was like one of the best in the world, liked these tracks enough to make them into a video.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's got to be such a good feeling. I haven't quite felt that yet. I've only made that front wheel shenanigans, and I don't know anybody wants to really play that track, but that was still a lot of fun doing it. But how about goals? Here, let's go back to off topic really quick. Goals for life in general. Like what is the goal for you? Like what's a big goal that you have in mind right now for like either work or whatever?
I have a few goals at the moment. Well, I'm going back to college in September.
Nice.
So it's one of my that's the main goal at the moment. Then another one as well would be have a band that I started recently. Just gonna try and get some music out with them, play some gigs. Like that's probably the second biggest goal I have for the most part.
Wait, Todd, how old are you again?
I'm 22.
22. Okay, I thought you were a little bit older. So
everyone always knows.
Yeah.
But I remember I was talking to somebody on a Twitch chat recently, and they were saying that they were fully convinced I was like 26 or 27.
I thought you were around my age too, like 24 or 25.
Yeah, I don't know why everyone thinks that.
But so what's the why going back to college? I mean, it's great, like, but what is your thoughts of like why do you personally want to go back? Is it get more opportunity
I have a degree
for
at the moment
work?
as well, and the degree I have is in sound engineering and music technology, and in Ireland to make a living off of that is virtually impossible. You need to either get really lucky and fall in with the right group of people, or you will live on very little money for the rest of your life.
Did you know that when you decided to do that as a degree?
No, not at all.
Good.
Because when you there's plenty of other things I could go into. Like I could go into like record label work if I wanted to with my degree, or I could go into radio work or anything along those lines. But they're not the thing I'm interested in. They're not the things. Okay, 8-bit, calm down, my friend. Yeah, no, they're not. I'm not interested in radio work. I'm not interested in studio work. It's, of course, the one element of my degree that I like is the one that makes no money.
Well,
yeah. So I'm going back basically for, try and open up some new doors, make some new opportunities, and definitely to hopefully open up the doors to a career that's a lot more stable.
Yeah, I feel like the opportunities opened up for me a lot more. I got a pretty broad major, which was just communication, and a lot of it was based around doing interviews, conducting surveys, and writing research articles, and like going into academia basically is like what a lot of that is about. There was actually a lot of philosophy that was involved in it, which I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I didn't think I would. But there's a lot of theory crafting and stuff that was involved in it. But
Yeah, for sure.
but that opened up the door. They like to see that I had a bachelor's of science in communication for my elementary school job. Unfortunately, that's only part-time, and I'm not sure if I will even be back next year because they're not really getting enough funding for the whole school district. But I'm not going to go too far into details with that one. I just hope that they do get more funding for my district and that I can come back, because I'm working at the elementary school that I went to as a kid, and it's really
Very
nice.
nice.
Yeah, it feels a lot more rewarding, giving back to the community that kind of raised me.
And not having to go to school.
Yeah, but I have been thinking about going back to maybe trying graduate school, and getting my master's in teaching is something I've been
very
thinking
nice.
a lot more about.
That'd be a ridiculously good degree to have.
Yeah, it would take, so it's either I have to go back for a full-time spot for a year, or I can take it half-time and do it for 2 years. So I'm trying to
That's
decide on
what I'm doing now. I'm going back to do a full time for a year.
So I think I was leaning more towards a full-time, because if I'm going back to school full-time and then I'm streaming, like I'd be okay with that. I think that'd be a lot of that's to be a lot of work going on, but we'll hopefully get enough
It's tough to
support
keep
from the
up.
fam and stuff to be able to keep going
Yeah.
to school. Of course, that's probably the most important thing.
Exactly. So you've been playing Evo as well, Josh, have you?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. I find the game
saw you.
extremely hard, and
Really?
yeah, like compared, like if I've been playing Rising, already for 500 hours over the past
Yeah.
couple of months, and I try to go back to Evo, like the throttle control is so much harder, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I noticed I went back and played Evo for about an hour and a half earlier on today and played some of the ninja tracks that were out. And I just noticed that if I gripped a wall properly, I could just keep going and going and going straight up the wall for so long.
Yeah.
Whereas on Evo, like, unless you get some god tier luck, you're going to start falling way quicker than you would do in Rising.
Do you not think that's a good thing though?
I think it's
I consider that a good thing.
yeah, I think it's better as well. Like I feel like not even better. I just feel like Evo allows you, like, because the throttle is harder to control, it doesn't allow you to just keep going up the wall.
Makes it a lot easier as a builder to make interesting throttle obstacles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
and
little
it
more
also-
momentum
it also
based,
stops-
it sounds like.
It also stops you having to like build walls that are stupidly high just to get the same feeling of difficulty. Because like if I could build a wall, I could build the same obstacle in Evo and Rising, and to make it equal difficulty, I'd have to make the wall 3 times the height in Rising, just
Yeah, at
because
least.
once it sticks, you can just go up for ages.
Or you just have to make some stupidly hard, like, inverted walls.
Yeah, like the inverted walls on CP2 of Baron, they are just nutty to see. Like on Slick's level 7 on Rising.
Yeah.
I was watching GT4's video of that earlier on today, and
I was trying the plus
those inverted
CPs, dude.
walls are
That track is so hard.
crazy.
The plus
That track
CPs.
is insanity.
Did you see the other, what was that other track? Oh, Humdrum. That one that Dave made. It's a really awkward, like, I think the full is supposed to be a level 7. And I was trying out the plus of that, and I only made it like a quarter of the way. That track was just stupid hard as well. Really interesting
not seen
obstacles
that.
on it, though.
There's no videos of it on YouTube, unfortunately, so I
Yeah.
can't even see it.
I don't think anybody's
And,
even done the plus checkpoints of it yet.
Jesus. Yeah, Dave just pumped out tracks on Rising. Like I think within like 2 weeks he had like 14 tracks out or something crazy
Yeah,
like that.
but the problem was that he said he was getting a little burnt out, and which is totally understandable. Like he made so many tracks, dude. I couldn't believe
Yeah.
it. Have you ever felt
'Cause
that
he-
before? Like getting burnt out
Uh,
on building or
It
playing?
was once on Fusion when I got 4 tracks released in 38 days. And after that, I kind of had to take a bit of a break because I was like, that was just like, I got 3 level 3 tracks, or 3 level 2s and a level 3 out in 38 days, and all like relatively well decorated, all like full length tracks, like eight checkpoints minimum. And after that, I put like 80 hours into trials over the course of 3-4 weeks. So I really needed to take a break after that for a good while. I
Yeah.
think it was a month before I went back into the editor after that.
I think it's important to space out the amount of content that you're either creating or just playing from other people. Like, I have felt somewhat, I don't know, I guess I've been a little burnt out. Actually, kind of recently, I second guess, just playing trials this much, but then I have these other moments where, like I just beat Molten. I had like a buzzer beater basically on one of Dave's tracks. It was a pretty tough level 5 climb, and then I'm like, oh, this is why I play these insane tracks. This is why I play trials. Like, it always comes back to me after those types of moments, but it does happen to me every once in a while. I felt it also when I was grinding out Makalu. I was way too stubborn when I was playing that track, and it ended up like actually hurting my fingers. Like when I was playing that track and trying to get the right throttle control down, it took me a very long time to understand that. And
understandably,
yeah,
that's another level of throttle control right there in that track. Like,
yeah, it's really tough to gauge yourself and to like, because I don't know, I'm really competitive, like against myself, and I always like to strive for more. But there's it's a certain extent that you can go. The human body can only last for so long with like certain, these types of dexterous objects that take, years of practicing basically. But we talked about this, I think, way back in the podcast of taking breaks. What do you think about taking breaks in gaming in general? Like, when should you do it?
When it starts to feel like it's more of a chore to play the game than it is fun. Like it's like that with RuneScape for me. Like, I absolutely love that game with a burning passion, but then after about 3 or 4 months, I feel like I'm only logging on for the sake of saying that I logged on. And then I kind of realized then that like when I do that, it's time to be like just stop for a while, take a break, go back in 2 or 3 months' time when I can actually just sit down.
Yeah, you enjoy it a lot more when you go back as well.
Exactly, yeah. Like I always find that like I go back and then for 4 to 5 months straight, I will love every second of playing that game. Then I'll just burn out of nowhere and not want to play, and I'll log in to maybe do some farm runs, and then I'll just stop doing farm runs. Then I'll cancel my subscription, and then fucking 4 months later I'm back playing again and loving every second of it. Like, I think I've quit and started RuneScape at least 25 times since like 2006 when I started playing.
Yeah, I know a lot of people come back to trials and they can like, play tracks that are even harder than when they stopped. And
yeah, exactly. Remember
that amazes
Lorcan
me.
took like 4 months break and then came back and passed like 4 sevens in a week. It was crazy. Man came back and he was like, yeah, I feel a bit rusty. Played for about 3 hours and then suddenly was back with like 125% skill compared to before he left.
He must have been training his fingers with like one of those like stress balls, or he's just constantly doing like, some forearm exercises, just getting that grip strength ready over 4 months maybe.
Well, it's great to see that kind of thing. Like, because once he came back and pretty much stayed back until the end of Fusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like, even Scott was the same. Scott took a break for a couple of weeks at one stage and then came back, and his skill level just increased so much so quickly.
I don't think I could do that though. I don't think I could do that for myself. I'm somebody who needs to constantly be practicing at something to like, I don't know, maybe maybe when I get more consistent with like level 6 tracks, I could take a break for a while and like let my hand recuperate, maybe, depending on how, how Trials does with the next patch or whenever upcoming patches will happen, and see if because I do remember coming back after the UK trip. It was only 2 weeks. I took a break, but I was able to beat Makalu.
Yeah.
After that, I
See,
started grinding out. I got more motivation to actually grind out tracks after that trip.
I haven't tried any like hard tracks since Fusion because I was grinding for Fort Rose, and then by the time I even got close to passing that, Rising had come out. The only level I've passed like 4 or 5 level 4s since then, and they're all my own. So I don't think they really count as much.
So I had some other like strange questions that people brought up during one of my streams, and I thought of some other ones, but
Cool.
these are just, I don't know. I would say like it's almost a would you rather type of question.
Okay.
So somebody's asking, if you could only play one difficulty level for the rest of your time on Trials, what would it be? So if you could only choose to play like level 4s, level 4 ninjas,
Yeah.
that'd be like literally it. Like you couldn't play any like beginner through extreme or any ninja levels. You just have to stick with that one difficulty. Would there be a level that you'd
I
like
feel
to play
like
still?
based on my current skill level, I'd pick 5 because I've never passed a 5, but I've come very, very close, and I'm like at the very. I could probably pass a 5 with a bit of a grind. So if I were to choose that, then at least I have months, and maybe if not months, like I have years worth of content that I've never played, and it's still something to work and strive towards and something to challenge myself with, considering I still can't actually pass 5s. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'd get much more time out of passing 5s, because if I picked level 4s, because I can come through past them, it wouldn't be too long before I've passed every single 4 in the game, and I'm kind of bored and they're not challenging anymore. But at least with 5s, there's always going to be a bit of a challenge.
Exactly,
and
but it's based around
something
your
I've never
personality too. Like if you were more of a speedrunning type, if you want to get some really like low
I'd probably
fault
pick
runs.
level 3s. I'd probably pick level 3s if I was going for like good runs and low faults.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm in the same boat with you, and I think a lot of other people in the chat are too. That they're gonna pick tracks. They're gonna pick a difficulty if they had to stick with it for the rest of their time to push their limits. So for me, I would pick level 6 because I've only beaten one so far, and I feel like I'm on the cusp of like getting, Scorn more consistently and getting that for my first level 6 on Rising. And I just enjoy the grind in general. I always have with this game, just always pushing the limits of it.
So, question, and would that also, if I'm only allowed play level 5s, does that mean I can only build level 5s?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you'd only be able to build level 5s as well.
That could be interesting. Because
I would choose a 4, definitely 4.
Yeah,
I think that's the most
You gotta think about
tracks you've made,
how
right?
many tracks are available as well. If you choose a 6, you're like stuck to like 30 tracks.
Yeah, I'd say. I think Slick alone has built more than 20 level 6s.
Maybe, but
So
you're
I'd
pretty
say-
much exclusively a Slick rider at that point.
Yeah,
I would like
more
to
or less.
build
Almost.
a level 6 though, like on top of just playing other like Slicks tracks. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, it would be kind of fun, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of starting to think 4 now, because there is like hundreds of level 4s, but there's maybe half that amount of level 5s. So, that's a good question.
And it's also dependent on just how many people are actually building those tracks too. You're right.
Yeah, because like, I don't know, if you look at like Evo and Fusion and Rising, there's so many level 4s, it's ridiculous. So I feel like no matter what you do, you're always going to have something you've never played before. Even if it's easier than you'd like it to be, it's still there. It's still something new, it's still something fresh. Whereas if you got good with level 5s, you'd probably pass all of them in half the time it would take you to pass all the level 4s.
Mm-hmm. Dave wants me to build a level 6 right now. I don't think I will. I came pretty close with that front wheel shenanigans. I think I would have to make a couple more checkpoints and make minor adjustments to front wheel shenanigans, because I feel like that's a really odd level 5. That could be like a medium to higher range 5 on Rising. But I want to first establish like the editor and stuff before I go and make really hard stuff.
Yeah. See, like, that's the one thing. Like, that's the main thing I'd like. Like, that's the main thing that Rising has over every other Trials game ever is the editor. The editor from Rising is just god tier. It is so good.
I'm not as impressed as most people. I don't think it's that big of an improvement compared to other games. Well, like Fusion. The only real difference is the stickers, which is like obviously really good, but they could have done so much more.
But even if they were to add like a scalability or like a scaling slider into Fusion and Evo or something like that would have been game changing as well.
Yeah, scaling's fucked though. It like messes with the hitbox.
Only if you're going really big with it. Like if you're sticking to like say double or half the size, you're not going to have much issue at all with collisions. But then if you're like scaling up cliffs from Fusion, then all of a sudden you have collisions that are coming out like 20 or 30 meters from the actual cliff face themselves.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm slightly disappointed at the editor on Rising. Not because it's bad, but because it's not as good. It's not as big of an improvement as it should have been for like 5 years of development.
Well,
basically.
What's another big game changer that they've added besides the scaling and the stickers?
Literally nothing.
Anything else?
No. Well,
nothing for you.
Editors?
Nothing for you, Todd. Nothing else that you can like really.
Just off the editor, like the sheer amount of items that are in it is a big definite.
Yeah, but we're not going to be using a lot of the logic and stuff in there, anyways. Like that's.
The logic is pretty much all the same as it has been in Fusion.
There's like no. Extra. There's quite a lot they could have done with logic as well, which is quite sad, but they didn't really.
Oh, yeah, there's a pathing event.
Yeah, but that was doable.
Yeah, like, it was doable, but it's definitely so much easier. And yeah, as Zach said, like anything to do with like weather effects or environment settings in Rising are infinitely better than they were in previous games.
I'm just disappointed that like back when Evo came out, the editor on Evo was like the best editor in any game ever. Now that Rising's out, there are games out there like, you know, Planet Coaster and stuff like that, which are just better. And Planet Coaster's like 2 years old now. It's just funny that like the Trial series gone from like being the best editor in like the gaming world to having a mediocre editor at best. But not me, you know what I mean? It's not as good as it should be for 2019.
I still think I still have like the Rising editor is just something else. It's one of the best I've used anyway, for sure.
I got another random question for us. So I think I already know the answer for you two, but I want to hear the other answers in the chat. Of would you rather be the best ninja player in the world? Would you rather be the best speedrunner, or would you rather be the best builder?
I'm already one of them. So.
Cap already is the best.
I'm kidding. I'm two of those.
I already knew that answer. Yeah, but how about you, Todd? Like, I know that you're really into ninjas, but you've gotten into building a lot more.
Builder without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Like I'd say with Trials Fusion, my hours game time, I don't know what my hours are, but it's like it's pretty high. But I'd say my time is split between writing and building. I'd say it's about 70% building and 30% writing.
I could add all three into one. I could say I can speedrun my own builds to perfection.
I can speedrun my own level 6 ninjas that I've built.
Yeah, I built my own level 9. I taskbot ran it. OP. No, that'd be so funny to actually see that. But you know I think for me, it'd be ninjas.
Building for me is kind of like the whole reason I actually still play the game is just for
same.
Slick said he's already all three.
Well, yeah, Slick, we know that. Well, Slick can't speedrun.
Zach, Zach can speedrun ninjas, so he's best of both worlds as well.
Yeah. Yeah, like just.
Yeah, but Zach's building skills aren't really that. You know, they're not up to scratch. So.
Yeah. Hook wants to be the best speedrunner as well. Panda, best speedrunner because he's ass at ninjas. That's acceptable. But ninjas will help with a lot of bike control, I think. Best inactive player. Plop.
Look at people like Lorcan and Scott. Like, they never really did much speedrunning at all, and then like they started passing level 7s, and then went and started speedrunning, and we're suddenly getting like top 30, top 20 runs pretty consistently.
Yeah, but that's just down to like getting good at the game. Like, there's not that much difference in being like a ninja and being like a speedrunner in terms of like you understand the game, sort of like.
Yeah, but it just goes
like,
to show that
yeah, they're a bit more like specialized, I guess you can say. But like,
I guess I'm saying more for the
terms of, like,
career
base
mode
of
instead.
Game skill.
Like,
yeah, but
I think it would be really impressive. So like, if we compared, you know, a really good level 8, maybe even a level 9 run in the future, like coming from, you know, either GT4 or RJ, and comparing that to, I think it'd be really impressive to see a speed run of like an all diamond run at GDQ for the career. Like, how insane would that be if somebody could pull that off?
It would never be done because
there's
way too many tracks.
If they got that consistent on it,
it would still take hours and hours because there's 146 diamonds to get in the game.
Yeah, but I think if somebody got consistent where they only had to do it a couple of times, like,
I feel like that level of consistency might not be like humanly possible.
Yeah, considering you'd need to be able to diamond.
Well, you wouldn't think that some people would get like almost taskbot runs on Mario, but people can like 3 seconds off of it.
Yeah, but Mario's like a fucking 2D game with like 3 inputs.
Yeah, I guess that is true. I guess there's a lot more variables that would be involved, but I don't know.
Considering if you look at the likes, like, I know it's not the best example, but like it took Blaze, what was it, like 10 hours to get the diamond on UK Up, and like I don't think anyone managed to get that relatively fast. So I don't see that something that you could ever like get so consistent that you could do it in a speedrun.
Well, this is something I'm thinking. If we're thinking like outside of the box here, we're thinking the best speedrunner to have ever lived. Yeah. And having the possibility of like this person being a fucking robot basically, and like being able to grind out and get diamonds on like a really quick, you know, it might take a few hours, it might take several hours, but just seeing somebody grind out diamonds for every single track in one sitting, I think would be pretty phenomenal. Like, that would be as good as seeing somebody grind out a level 8 or a level 9, in my opinion. Like, for
it would be more impressive in my opinion. Also, when you said a level 9, that's a bit fucking optimistic right there, given the state of ninjas.
Sure,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Slick said he'd started building a level 9 on Rising.
Yeah, but Slick's never going to play Rising again, he said as well. So, yeah.
So who knows if we'll ever get to Ninja level 9, but you know, only time will tell. I think, you know, since we have created 8s and we didn't think, you know, that we'd be able to create level 5s way back when, right? Like, people didn't think that we'd be able to push it that far.
5s have been around since HD.
Yeah, 5s have existed. There was the Beyond Ninja in Trials HD, which is level 5.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like if we're gonna have to look at like the likes of Odious, like if anything harder than that is going to require like borderline robotic control, because Odious CP3, the one that Scott passed, is like, even watching his replay, the inputs are so almost like millimeter perfect that anything harder than that, I don't know if it will be.
Also, ninjas have to be like good enough in the sense that like the game has to be good enough for ninjas in order to keep them interested to get to that skill level, whereas at the moment we've basically lost like all of the top ninjas. Scott's gone, Loken's gone, GT4 speedruns. I don't know if he still plays ninjas.
He plays ninjas on
RJ fucking MIA. Who knows where that kid is?
Mm-hmm.
I have RJ on Snapchat. He's just constantly uploading like photos of him, like, or videos of him and his college roommates on the beer. So I think college life has took him.
So yeah, until ninjas get fixed, and debatable whether it needs fixing, but in my opinion it does.
A double Wraith, yeah, that'll be the first level 9, I guess. Except that double of anything is kind of boring to see, in my opinion. It's just getting a lot more consistent.
It was a nice little kind of niche thing at the time, and it was interesting. It was funny to see, but it got overdone.
Yeah, but going back
the same way, like,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
People porting ninja tracks from Fusion to.
I have no issue with that, to be honest. Like,
I think it's okay too.
Like,
I have no issue with it as well, but it's just like
I don't think it can be overdone though. I feel like as long as like I don't know. I feel like it's just up to like as a player. If you want to play them, then fair enough. If not, then don't, like you can't really complain about it. Someone wanted to like port over sort of shit that
I
they've
just
worked on.
thought it got a bit annoying, like logging into Rising and going onto the track central and just seeing nothing but fusion tracks.
Yeah,
for the
but
most
like
part.
that's it's kind of the same as like when Track Central first went cross-platform on Fusion. You
Yeah.
basically just got like bombarded with like thousands of tracks from other platforms. It's like
I was
eventually
still on
people are going to
360
run out
at
of
that stage.
tracks to cross-plat, and then you're going to get back on track with new tracks and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it for the if as long as like decent tracks get ported, it's worth it in the long run to have those tracks.
Yeah, I
available.
just don't think there've
Yeah.
been enough tracks, like original tracks, to come out. So I'm totally fine with ports as well.
Yeah, with that, yeah.
Very true.
Um,
I'm also
but going
not
back
happy
to
with-
the whole ninja, best speedrunner, best builder. Like for me, I just wanted to add one more thing about like for me, looking at ninja runs is like what really inspired me to get into this game again. So like
Yeah.
that's my goal, basically, like streaming and stuff, is to like inspire others to really enjoy playing ninja tracks. But I do like to branch out and do other stuff, of course. But what were you gonna say,
Essentially, all I
Todd?
do is ninjas, and building is all I will do.
Mhm.
That's all I can do. I'll never do speedrunning. I'm just so bad at it. But
I'd like to get back into building, but for that to happen, ninjas would have to improve.
that's why I'm building on Evo at the moment. It's just
Yeah.
feels right.
See, it's tempting, but at the same time, it sort of feels like I don't really want to backtrack. Like I'd rather just like move away from trials at that point.
So
Fair.
who do you know? Who's been playing on Evolution?
Slick's been playing. Sparks has been playing. Hard Logic. There's actually quite a few people. Let me load up the leaderboards of a track and see, because there's quite a few like relatively big names. Penny's been playing. Zarzrak's
Yeah.
been playing.
Yeah, I've been playing a little
lot of
bit
good
here and
players.
there.
Yeah, it's like a lot of players.
I
That
know
were
Dave wants to.
a lot of highly rated players from.
Anyone who cares about ninjas,
Fusion.
probably.
Yeah, so
Basically.
Sparks, Slick, Silver Gunners, Preda, Hard Logic, Zarzrak, Affected, Taiga, Globe, I Kill What I See, like a load of kind of people that were relatively good in the days of Fusion and still are, but people that just still want to play ninjas and aren't done with the series. A lot of them are gone back to Evo nowadays.
Yeah, man.
This-
I definitely want. I mean, it's hard to devote like enough time to both games, honestly. And then people were even asking me if I was gonna try out some Fusion. So again, maybe
yeah,
play some more Fusion. It's gonna feel really weird, like jumping from 3 games. I like to stick with one game for pretty much a full like stream. But it would be cool to see like just jump between all 3 of those games in one day and see how it goes. I think it'd be
that's
kind of
pretty
funny.
much what Blix did today. Blix played through every single Trials HD track, then every single Evo track, and then most of Fusion.
Oh,
all
really?
in one go. Because he got his Xbox One X, so he's playing the older games now.
Oh, nice.
It was pretty cool to watch now. It was interesting to say the least.
Do you think this speedrunning tournament is looking promising? Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah,
I've heard about it. I know absolutely nothing about it though. So
I'm surprised it actually picked up as much as it did, because like obviously people are like, when it first got proposed to me, it was like $400 prize reward, and I said that's great, and then people were like starting to donate, and then it became a $600 prize reward, and now I know it's over that now, and now there's like rewards for people who can like predict the outcome of the tournament and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Who do you guys have winning it?
Gambling.
Ooh,
Who do you guys have winning?
winning?
I'd have to see who's in it first.
I think I'd have either GT4 or Marple to win it.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
GT4 facing off against Marple in the finals. Is my prediction.
Oh wow, that's it. That'd be my final prediction as
Yeah.
well. But like, I'm really kind of happy with how Panda has done this tournament, because it's nice to see like all of the Classy's in it, Borad's is in it, Marple is in it, Nova's in it. Like it's just so many of the big names in speedrunning.
That
are all-
shitlord Doughnut's in it. He's gonna suck ass at speedrunning.
It's just kind of great to see a lot of like the top ninjas to have ever played the game, or not top ninjas, sorry, top speedrunners to have ever played the game, all kind of making an appearance for this. It's kind of, I feel like it was definitely needed.
Yeah, this is a really cool event, and I hope we have a lot more of these. The only issue, so I was a little confused about the rules, and I was actually talking to Panda over this past week about it, and it was fortunate enough, one of his buddies ended up leaving the tournament, and I was able to take their place,
Nice.
basically. But the problem I have with it is, so it's only one heat. You play 3 tracks, but you only get 1 shot, basically, for that track. So this is like the epitome of consistency with these speed runs.
You need to know all these tracks inside out.
Inside and out, like hundreds of hours of gameplay, it seems like, for just these, like, and it's only beginner through hard as well, which I understand, and I voiced my opinion on it pretty highly that I would like to see extreme tracks also in this tournament. But
see, my concern is if there is extreme tracks in it, well then you're kind of handing a win to GT4, because all throughout Fusion
I feel like that's not really anything that needs to be considered, though, because if he's the best, then does he not deserve to win?
I feel like he'd get an upper hand just because.
Yeah, but he's getting an upper hand because he's better. Is that not how tournaments? Like, I don't understand.
Well, it's not even a ninja track either. Like the thing with extremes is, like, I don't think they want to have any faults really occur during this tournament. Does that sound like maybe the consensus that people are thinking of? Like, they want a lot more consistent slides and seeing a lot more like insane time savers instead of
that's kind of what I feel
just
like
raw technical gameplay.
It's going to come down to, like, in, like, let's say from the quarterfinals onwards, it's going to be lots of, like, you're gonna have to go for the big slides and the crazy time savers in order to actually get through to the semifinals and the finals, etc., like that. Because
I don't know. I think everyone's gonna play safe if it's one.
I think so too. That's exactly my thought, and that's the problem that I have, is that we're not gonna see as much diamond level gameplay. Not any
I'm
diamond.
thinking, like, if you have
runs.
something like Marple versus GT4, like the difference between one of them guaranteed to win and it coming down to like a hair is like there's going to be one of them is going to try a time saver that they feel consistent on, and like that could be a make or break thing, and that's going to be the drama behind the tournament. That's going to be what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, but
it'll be interesting for the ranking. So I don't think, now that I know that it's one round, I don't think that it's going to be the people that you'd expect in the final.
Yeah,
because I feel like some of those people will have the balls to try stuff and probably fail.
Yeah.
And then, game over sort of thing.
I just think that there should be at least one practice round. Now, the problem with that is that it would drag on this tournament way too long. So this is supposed to be only a day event, which is that's pretty crazy considering there's like
with 64 people.
64 people. There's like 90 something rounds, I think, in total.
And it's not starting until like 9 p.m. our time for me and Cabbage, like, so it's going to be quite tough to
yeah, it's starting in the middle of the day, like almost like an hour after noon my time.
Considering there's going to be some people, there's going to be some speedrunners from Europe in the tournament who aren't playing until like 4 or 5 a.m. and like that's going to
is it midweek or weekend?
It's on Friday. It's on May 31st for everybody that has not heard about this speedrunning tournament yet in the Discord. May 31st. It's like an all-day event. There's going to be 64 players. It's a double elimination round. There are 3 tracks that each round plays, just 1 heat each. So if you win 2 tracks right away, like, you go on to the next round. That's basically the gist of it. But I do hope I'll get surprised by diamond runs. I think there will be diamond times. I just don't think there will nearly be as many if somebody could just, like, have a practice run. Or maybe Panda was also talking about letting people know in advance what 3 tracks that they're going to play.
What I think that should be a case of, like, you find out the day before what your 3 tracks are going to be in your heat, so you have time to go off and actually practice them. Because I feel like we'd see some much crazier stuff in runs if people had time to go off and practice that mad slide to hit the time saver, or that mad, like, brake flip to hit save half a second, all that kind of crazy stuff. Like, it would be a lot more prevalent if people actually had time to practice their tracks.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big ask for Panda to do, because that's like per race. Or he's gonna have, like, for the 64 players, like, he's gonna have to do hundreds of tracks. He'd really have to spend hours and hours just letting each individual player know what their tracks are, because like, for the first round he's gonna have to do, there'll be 32 races, so he'll need to do like 3 tracks for each of those races, and then message everyone those 3 tracks. It'd be crazy.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, as long as it's an even playing field, sort of, you don't really need practice as long as no one else has it. So
Yeah, and we've had a
No
lot of
point
time for
adding
these
extra
careers.
stress.
We have a lot of time for the career tracks.
Yeah, the game has been out for quite a long time. I feel like people are kind of like the top tier speedrunners are more than used to every single track now at this stage.
Yeah.
Especially the likes of people who have diamond on every single track, they're definitely comfortable. So
There probably will be helium tracks as well.
Yeah, Marple was saying
I would
something about
imagine.
like consistent tracks though should like, or inconsistent tracks, like Shanghai Skyscrapers is one that he really dislikes.
yeah,
For people going for the insane time save that's like pixel perfect, that takes
That's
forever
the
to
thing,
get
though.
down.
No one's going to do that in this tournament.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
you're stupid if you try that.
if it's pixel perfect, no one's going to go for it unless they somehow just get a perfect setup and decide to go for it.
But do you think?
Because if somebody hits that in the tournament, oh my, like, that would be insane.
Do you think that people will have, or that we will be allowed to use the helium, or do you think it'll only be Rhino and Mantis? Because I don't know that rule either. If anybody,
I don't see
know
why
Panda?
not. I mean,
Yeah, I'd hope that you could use the
Panda can answer the question. He's in the chat still.
I hope that you could use the helium, considering the specific tracks that they've only practiced on the helium. So it'd be unfair to kind of ask them to speedrun a track that is a helium track on the Mantis in a tournament setting as well, specifically.
yeah, I wouldn't bother Panda, to be honest. I mean, as long as it's like even playing field for both people, then
Yeah, because
there's no reason to take tracks out.
if there's an unfair track, like,
It's
the person
unfair for
you're
both
playing
of them.
yeah, the person you're playing against has to deal with that as well. So all bikes are allowed. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really interested to see this tourney, and I want to be able to host it, of course, too. I'm gonna be just a tiny bit late on Friday. I don't know if I'll be one of the starting stations for people to watch some of the events happening, but I will definitely be like there, like trying to commentate and help out a bunch of the runs before we get to Blaze. Will be like the final station that everybody will be at, I think, for the semi-final and final ones,
Yeah,
which will
That's gonna be
include
rough,
more
though, 'cause
tracks
for
too.
Europeans, that's going to be like the finals are going to be really late at night. Like, really late. But, I think it's going to be worth staying awake for.
Yeah, like this the type of competitive like environment that I think we need a lot more of in trials.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is so well organized in comparison to other tournaments that have happened.
Yeah,
And the fact that there's actually an incentive to, practice and participate and actually show up for the tournament. It's crazy. Like, it's so good.
I think there could be a lot more of these just by like the regular multiplayer, like public multiplayer that Red Links has. I think there could be like a duel, like a 1v1 type of scenario that people could do more.
That'd be definitely a lot more interesting.
Yeah, instead of just like the normal 8-person Supercross that we typically do on there.
Because that does get very boring very quickly.
Yeah, like I know you could do that in private multiplayer, but it'd be cool to see more options in like competitive, like have more ranked playlists than just that one option, and like have skill games and stuff involved too. It'd be really cool.
You totally have what people used to do on Call of Duty, like where you just meet up in a 1v1 lobby and then you take turns winning just to get points. Like the way people used to do with headshots in Call of Duty to get the gold gun skins.
Yeah, and there, like, what if there was another like a Track Central playlist for ranked multiplayer? That'd be interesting. Like all the top rated tracks could go into a pool basically that is randomized and people can choose from.
That would be a lot. That'd be very interesting as well.
Yeah.
Like, just so you're not just using you're not just using Red Links tracks, like you're using actual player made tracks, which are often miles better anyway. So if you remember any of Murder by Sound's extremes from Fusion, they were infinitely better than any of the default game extremes. And then, like, what's the guy's name? Amorphous made hard and medium tracks that are just some of the best hard and mediums in the game.
Agreed. Amorphous made that one track, the Neo New York, that I always talk up so highly. That one is just probably one of the greatest speedrun lines I've ever seen.
I feel like
in Track Central.
Online multiplayer would be a lot more appealing to people if you could play tracks like that with 8 other people without having to set up a private lobby and invite people.
Yeah, but then
it'd be so much better.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. Like, you'd all be on the same driving line. It'd be insane if you could create like a massive, like Supercross track where you could see everybody on different driving lines for it.
That sounds like a nightmare.
For Track Central, yeah, I don't know about that.
Especially when you're doing decoration like Amorphous does. That's just another thing.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Trav? Welcome, dude. He's saying give Todd a beer.
Big T-Rav.
It's past midnight over there. What time is it over there now?
It is 12:26.
Oh, jeez. Well,
early hours.
You know, I wanted to go over one more thing really quickly here.
Cool.
So I compiled kind of like a tier list for Track Central stuff over the past month. I was working on this a lot today, and I've been thinking about a lot more tracks over the past week to add this. So how this is going to go is I have about 15 tracks here that I have ranked anywhere from D to S tier. I don't really have a lot of lower rated tracks, but I do want to talk about some that, like, I see the effort there, and that's probably the most important thing, that I see an effort, and I'm bringing them on this list because I want them, or I want whoever the builder is, maybe if they ever hear this, to know that these are good tracks still, and that we are going to have more constructive criticism and talk about like some things that need to be changed for it. But for the most part, I rated a lot of these like B and A. But without further ado, this is my Track Central tier list, and I actually want to create like a more elaborate YouTube video and have gameplay of each one and kind of talk about and break it down of like
that'd be good
typical things that I like to see in like, you know, consistent A rank tracks, and then talk about what needs to be applied in S tier and so on and so forth. But the first track I want to talk about, very recent track that Zach came out with, it was Neptune Lagoon.
Oh yes.
So he made an extreme version and a ninja version. This is already amazing in my eyes. I love to see people create tracks that are easier or harder versions of the same thing, and to have like a really flowy type of track. But also, on the other hand, you can turn it into a track that's really technical and that requires a lot more time and effort to, you know, get a time on there. But like another thing that I like to say about Zach tracks is the decoration, of course, is always...
So is that a D rank?
Is that a D? It's not the D. I mean, Zach can give me his D, but no, I'm giving Zach an S tier for like literally almost all of his tracks that he's created, except for like way back, I think the beginning of Fusion. There's a couple of iffy ones, but so far in Rising, I'd give pretty much everything an S tier that Zach has created. But it's because that he has taken the effort to make more than just one type of track, like for the same track. I think that's a really cool thing that people are able to do. And
it also like opens up the potential to play a quality track to a lot more people.
Yeah, and he also made a donut floaty on that track, and it made me so happy.
That's an instant S tier right there.
Yeah.
That was a S plus ranking.
Get some extra brownie points for that one.
Exactly.
But dragged it up from the D rank to the S rank.
just because of the donut float.
It was going to be like a low C, high D up until that donut floaty.
Yeah, but something that I will give S ranks to certain tracks is when I see people really competitive on the leaderboards, when I see people have the replayability on certain tracks, that ups it at least like one ranking for me. When I see a lot of people on there grinding out for like some pretty solid diamond times, and making sure that the builder actually has tough times to try and get on it too. I think
you can
that's
tell
a
it's
huge
good
factor.
when like the top 3 spots on the leaderboard, for example, all have time within like half a second of each other. Because you know, then like there's been hours put in to get like the most consistent time by multiple people, then, and that's a sign of like an incredible track.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure all the extreme versions of all of Zach's track have exactly that.
yeah, and then the other Zach track that I of course need to talk about is Penrose. It's an MC Escher type of like decoration. It's really mind-boggling that Zach is able to create
yes.
like, you know, the upside down stairs, roof, whatever, like floaty objects kind of in a dream state background. I don't really need to explain anymore that it's also an extreme and it's also a ninja track that is the ninja is very technical, and I have played through that track like a few times already, and I still want to get better times and upload it for like a YouTube video because I enjoy it that much.
That track was something else. It was so confusing, but so fun.
Yeah, really like that one. So well done to Zach. Those are probably some of the best tracks out there so far on Track Central. Next one, I have Extreme Insanity. This is a track that I played pretty recently. I give this one an A rank. So the driving line is really original on this. You're on the same screen for this entire track, but there's like 14.
I saw you play this one.
But there's 14 checkpoints, and you start in the foreground, and then like as you go to the right side of the screen and you go off screen, you end up behind. Like there's layers upon layers.
Really cool.
Yeah, this is such a cool idea, and I feel like somebody's already done this for a skill game, but not to this.
Something similar, at least.
Yeah, but not to this extent to where people were getting like pretty solid zero fault runs, and it looked really smooth. And I love the driving line. The only problem for me was the decoration. Like I understand you can't really put much decoration in that. Is like the only downside to this track. And I think the best runs come out of the helium, but that's also understandable when you have that bike like in any sort of track that requires bouncing or technical climbs or stuff like that. That's okay. I forgot who even built that, but good job with whoever built it.
He was in the chat when you were playing it.
Oh, was he?
I can't remember either. Yeah, I can't remember.
Shit. Well, sorry, I forgot whoever made that. That's a really awesome track.
Yeah, that track was so much fun to watch.
I just think if there was a little... I don't know if it would maybe take away from the... Or not the quality. Like, the performance issues might be a thing. Like, if there's not enough just, like, simple decoration. If there's too much in the background, like, it could screw up the whole thing. And you wouldn't be able to see the driving line because it's layered on top of each other. But really
I think that track could have been heavily improved by the involvement of Helicopter Man.
Definitely.
Helicopter Man? What? What is this?
What?
Oh, Doughnut.
Ban yourself, please.
Ban yourself.
Okay,
please.
I'll see myself out. But what is Helicopter Man? Before we go.
Clearly
the best thing to ever happen to Trials.
Clearly, you haven't played the best track on Track Central. If you don't know who.
Helicopter Man is an instant S rank.
Is that on Rising? What is that?
Yeah,
it was one of the first, OG Rising tracks.
Yeah, one of the first ninja tracks to come out on Rising, and then Helicopter Man did a smashing performance.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll have to play that on the stream later today. I think that'll be the first pick. We'll give it a triple S tier maybe after I try it out.
Triple S tier because Fighter Jetman is also really, really good.
Yeah, he is. And what do you call him as well? What was the other guy? Can't even remember. It's just like, shit, was it?
I can't remember either.
That
track is old.
On to the next track, though. I chose a really good speedrunning track that included some interesting decoration. So this one was called K8 Cardboard Trials. This is a S rank for me, and I'm really surprised about this track. I think it's so amazing how they were able to make the bike look like it was made out of cardboard, and it still ran really smoothly. It didn't make noise though, like the noise was muted on the bike, which is kind of strange. But I grinded this track out quite a bit to get a diamond run on it, and it was a lot of fun. And I think the decoration was insane. And also, again, the leaderboards were really competitive, and that's another pretty big deciding factor. Just seeing a lot of people playing this and enjoying it to the extent that they can replay it so many times and get like some pretty crazy runs on it. Really, really, a lot of flow on the track too. Like the flow is probably one of the most important factors, I think, with a speedrunning track.
For speedrun tracks, it's the most crucial thing, realistically.
Yeah, insane flow on it. Loved it a lot. Next one is Tilted Climber. I give this one an A rank. This one is what I imagined the hill climb skill game to be like. This is exactly what I wanted the hill climb to be like. Really kind of eerie decoration in the background. It looks like kind of in an abandoned city.
Yeah. I think I've seen this.
It was it's just like a regular climb track, but the problem for me with this track was it was too short. I was so upset when I got to the top. I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to climb for at least another minute or two. It was so well done that I was disappointed by how short it was, but that is what I imagined the hill climb skill game should have been like. I was really disappointed with the one that Red Links made. It was really boring, and just the background was just so pathetic. But this one was awesome.
Going around a giant barrel, it got so tedious so quickly.
Yeah, that's a cool one. A lot of good runs on that track as well. That one's just a extreme track, I would consider it. Just an extreme climb. There was another track that was just like that I was disappointed by how short it was, and that one was called Mayday. I'd give that one another A rank, just because of how short it was. That's like it dropped it down one rating. If that track had like 2 or 3 more checkpoints, it's an S rank. This had a really eerie vibe to it. It was kind of dark to see, but like that's what made the track actually pretty challenging at first for the first run of it. I ended up getting like a 1 or 2 fault run, I think, the second try. But this was like an easier, probably Ninja 1, I would probably say. But amazing decoration.
I feel like most Ninja 1s start to feel short once you get to a certain skill level, though.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. My standards are a little bit higher nowadays than it would have been a year ago.
A 10 checkpoint level one's going to feel way shorter than like a 5 checkpoint level 6.
Yeah.
Just simply out of the fact that you have to put so much more effort into it, but I get what you mean.
Exactly. A lot of these preferences, it's based around, a combination of the driving line. Is it smooth? Are the checkpoints consistent somewhat? Is it really challenging maybe? Does it have insane decoration? Does it have very simple decoration? Is it original?
Yeah.
Are the leaderboards competitive? Do the leaderboards even work? Stuff like that is all deciding factors in some of these ones. But move on to the next one. This next one is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this one right. It's Daiwaron or Celeron. There was 2 versions of this. I rated this one at the B rank because this one, it's a solid driving line. Like, this is a great throttle practice track, but it's really boring, just decoration wise. Like, I just want to run through it maybe 1 or 2 times. It's not super replayable unless you are having that challenge. But for me personally, I'm giving it a B rank because it just wasn't like as satisfying, basically, for me to beat. Honestly, I might even put it at the C rank. It's like that B minus, maybe C plus, like kind of borderline right now for me. There's really not much to say about it. It's a really average climb track. That's all that I would probably describe it as, and I think people should play it still if they are working on their throttle control for easier, like level 2, I'd say, like level 2 climb track. The next one is Test Chamber 101. I give this one an A rank. This one also had an Extreme and Ninja version on it. The Ninja version is a really solid back wheel only track that I personally liked quite a bit. You know what? I don't even think I tried out the extreme version, but I can imagine. I think I saw a run of it actually, and it looked like it was really smooth, had a lot of flow to it, just by looking at that. But I found the Ninja version, somewhat challenging, and just, a classic front wheel, or not front wheel, back wheel, but like a classic back wheel type of track overall. Is Ryzen getting any new updates? I think we're gonna have one later this next week, maybe. I thought they were gonna come out with an update
Did
this
they not
month.
release one recently?
I don't think they did recently.
I thought they did. I know
I think
there
the last
was
released, I
one
thought, was
due
like
this
2
month.
weeks ago.
And by the way, you guys, when I'm talking about these tracks as well, I'm gonna try to put a video, or at least clips of these tracks in to probably the lower left box for the YouTube video as well. I'll try to add in a little bit more gameplay on top of it. Try to add a little.
Should have got them in for the actual podcast.
Yeah, I know. It's really tough though with me going back and forth with the tabs. It usually lags really hard whenever I have a YouTube video playing in the background, as well as like I have the Twitch chat open, I got Discord streaming, like the whole shebang. It makes it really tough. So I'll probably just edit it in, like we did. RJ did that with one of the videos. We talked about some other of our favorite Rising tracks thus far. But next one is Scrapped. This was a back wheel only skill game that I absolutely loved. And again, this is like a way better version of Loose Screw, that skill game.
Yeah.
So this one, Scrapped, it was, pretty simple decoration. It was good. It was great decoration. You're in the same spot and you're going through and doing back wheel only throughout these generated checkpoints, basically in the same spot. Once you get to the finish line, you restart back to like the very first checkpoint start. It's not like one flowing track. You just keep restarting after you get to the finish line after each checkpoint.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And this one is, it has a lot of different obstacles. This is a really good practice for back wheel. I honestly would give this track an S rating because of how well the practice is for back wheel. And I saw a lot of people get a long ways on it, but I also realized that the leaderboards were kind of screwed up and that people were able to go past the 3 faults that you could only have mostly on this. Wow. So like instead of just being one and done, you have 3 faults that you get to deal with throughout this entire track, and just try to get as far as you can, get as many points as possible by not failing. But somehow people were able to bypass the 3 fault limit and they were able to keep going, which I think that's honestly okay with me. There should be a version that you can just keep going no matter what. Like it should be a trials track instead of a skill game as well.
Kind of like the way Ascension became a trials track after it was a skill game.
Yeah, exactly. Like it could be like that. It could turn into an actual trials track, but yeah, this is what I really would have wanted for Loose Screw. This is such a good skill game to be practicing back wheel stuff.
Sounds like I could definitely use some back wheel training.
Yeah, I'm not sure how people got past the 3 fault limit, but it's okay. The leaderboards have been screwed up for a lot more stuff than just that, so I'm not gonna bring
the
it.
Leaderboards are janky for everything, so
I'm not bringing it down a rank just because of that. I think it's still really amazing practice for back wheel. Next track is Red Belt. So I gave Red Belt a B rating. It's a track that uses the same type of decoration as all of the other Red Links Ninjas, which it's okay. I'm just kind of bored of it at this point. I know it works. And the driving line's awesome. I think there's some really interesting obstacles on it. I would rate this a little bit higher. But, the leaderboards are messed up. The Ninja Dojo decoration has been overused, I think, a lot. I just want to see a little more originality coming out of decoration. I think especially after, a couple months.
Bushes, rocks, and piles, lads. It's all you need to do.
Actually, it's been like 3 months, not just 2. Yeah, it's been like
Cabbage
3 months
knows
now.
what I'm saying. bushes and piles, and you're sorted.
That's all you need for it. Except on Xbox, like I think a lot of the foliage would screw up the performance issues, though.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, for the original Xbox. I still think that red belt, this is a must play because it is like in between, I would say orange belt and green belt. I think the color should have been changed to like, I don't know, purple belt or something different. Because when I imagine red belt, I think that's a pretty high ranking one. Like that's right before black belt for me. Like at least at my dojo that I went to a long time ago for Taekwondo, red belt was right before.
Yeah, red belt definitely does sound like it'd be a tough one.
Yeah, it was right before black belt. So I think
it sounds like it should be higher than blue belt at least.
Yeah, I don't know what should be between orange and green. Like honestly, like I guess purple would be in between like green and blue.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Red. I mean, I'm not gonna mess with the name too much on this, but yeah, still play red belt. It's still a great one. Love that. Okay, so on to a track that I saw a lot of effort on, but the execution was kind of poor. So this track was called Japan Hero. Japan and then HIRO. So I'm giving this one a lower ranking, like D, maybe C. Nah, probably a D. I think I don't want to shit on this track like a whole lot right now, but I just want to tell you guys like kind of my whole thought process of testing out tracks and making sure that the the quality of it is it should be consistent with like the rest of the track. So at the beginning of this track, I think there's some issues with pixelation, and I see like how the headlight hits stuff and it looks like there's these like black boxes that pop up like randomly. You guys ever seen that happen?
Cannot say I've seen that happen.
It looks really bad in my opinion. It's something that I don't know how it could be fixed, but I know that there's probably some other ways around it. Maybe just turning off the headlight on your vehicle could probably get rid of that issue.
Yeah, I'd do that for every track anyway.
And I honestly think that the headlight takes the performance down a lot on consoles. I don't think it's
would not be surprised.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big problem on PC, but on consoles, I think it screws it up. I could tell that there's a lot of decoration and a lot of time put in this track, and my critical feedback that I would give to it is it's got to have a little more flow to it. There's some really awkward checkpoints. There's like a couple of teeter-totter parts that like it doesn't seem like you can land on it very well, and like even the first place run gets like caught up kind of near the end because like the ending has like these weird kind of V-shaped landings and stuff that it could be ironed out and turned into like a really good like extreme speedrun line. I think it'd be good. But what are you guys' opinions on like giving critical feedback to these new builders that just I don't know if they test out the tracks enough? Like what would you say, Todd?
Always big thing is just even if you feel really comfortable with the track, if you can somehow get someone else to play it. I know on Rising that's not much of an option considering you can't test tracks in private multiplayer yet or at all, but if you're on PC, send somebody the track files, let them play it in the editor, see how it feels, take constructive criticism, and don't get offended by it. Because you'd find a lot of people, you try and give them any kind of criticism and they'll automatically go straight to being insulted. But even if someone is actually just being mean as opposed to trying to help you out, just listen to what they're saying and try and work on what they're insulting or what they're not happy with. You got to take everything constructive or else you're never really going to progress. So if you constantly get upset by what people are like telling you could change, and then you continue to build the same way you always have, then those people are going to end up just no longer trying to help you out. No one's going to help you out, and you're never going to learn from your mistakes. So you need to kind of take everyone's opinion into account in a big way. and also test the living shit out of your track. Like don't just pass it once and say, "Yep, it's good." Just play it over and over and over again until you can barely stand to look at it anymore.
That's me.
Until the sight of the track actually upsets you. Then I think you're ready to upload it.
Good stuff.
Because if you're putting 20 or 30 hours into a build, you don't want it to go up and get received badly just because you weren't interested in putting another hour into testing the checkpoints properly.
Yeah.
Especially for ninjas, like if you're building a track, you need to just play it. If the track you're building is within your level, just play it over and over and over again until you can pass it almost like every single time without fail. And then once you can say to yourself that feels consistent, or somebody else can say to you that feels consistent, then you're good to go from there.
Madi was asking about Frozen Tibet, putting our ranking on that. I absolutely adored that track when I first played it, but that track was a while back, Madi. I'm ranking the tracks that have come out over the past month right now. If I was to choose a rating for Frozen Tibet, it's like an A+. I think it's almost an S rank, honestly, because it felt like a track that should be in the Red Lynx Ninjas. So it's a very high rated track, in my personal opinion.
I'm not sure if that's an insult or not.
Oh, for like Red Lynx Ninjas? Well, like, how about the first 3 Red Lynx Ninjas? We'll go with those.
Yeah,
those are a lot better.
The first 3 are solid.
Those are solid.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah, it's somewhere in between, like white and yellow belt. So it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. On to the next one. I'm gonna do a couple more because, honestly, we could do this each week and just go over it. We can either do.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip out actually because I've got nothing to contribute to this.
Okay? Yeah, no problem, Cab. Thanks for joining us, man. You can definitely hop on out of here.
See you later.
Yep. See you, man.
Nice one, boy.
So the thing with a lot of these tracks, like trying to do it each week, it's more. I think it would be better as like a monthly type of thing that we could do every 4 streams, because we want to have this list compiled up, and I want to have a lot more critical criticism for these tracks.
I feel like if you were trying to do it on a weekly basis, you're going to end up with a load of low-ranked tracks just simply because you don't have enough tracks to pick from.
Yeah, and I think I would be picking a lot of speedrun stuff instead, which I want to have a mixture of like having a skill game or two, having some easier speedruns, having some like extreme speedruns, having ninjas, like all kind of compiled together in this list. I like to have a lot more variety in these. But I'll talk about a couple more that I really liked, and I'll save some of these others maybe for next time. Or maybe for the stream. I can talk about them later, definitely today. The next one is Osiris. This is a front wheel back wheel ninja that Gav made, and I rated this one an A.
I tried to play that today. It kicked the shit out of me.
Did it?
That track just bet me senseless.
Did you like it though? Did you like how
it was really, really fun? It was just I'm so bad at back wheel, front wheel, but it was a very fun track for what I played.
This is a track I want to go back to really badly, and I was so impressed. Todd, did you know that this is Gav's first track he's ever made on Trials?
That is crazy.
Isn't that amazing? Like, I almost want
to. The first track he's ever made on
Dude,
Trials.
I literally want to throw this in an S rank.
Most people make.
I want to throw this in an S rank because it's his first track ever made, but I'm gonna give it an A because I still think there's some improvement. I think it's really simple decoration, and I love that atmosphere of like the chains, coming from the background, like out of the abyss.
If that's his
really
first
cool.
ever track, like if he keeps on building, you guarantee he's going to be seeing a lot of S ratings in the future.
Dude, I
without a doubt
really enjoyed this.
Like if you compare his first track to my first track, it looks like someone my first track looks like somebody threw a controller against a wall, and that was the result.
Some Apiste or my track just threw down a driving line on a random hill and called it good.
Just all rocks with awful collisions.
Yeah, but yeah, this track it was really simple, front wheel, back wheel. Just I don't know, it was solid all around. There's not a whole lot to say. The decoration was super simple. I just think, I don't know, it could, I don't know, more consistent is the right word for some of this.
For a first track, consistency is very hard to do.
Yeah, it is really tough, and I'm not gonna dock him too many points for that. But
you shouldn't like give him a rank up because it's his first track.
Exactly.
You gotta judge a track as it is, but like that is to get to get anything that good for your first track is terrifyingly impressive.
Yeah, really like that. There was tough obstacles on it too. I think
Yeah.
Gav was pushing himself, and I could see the effort that was really put into like training front wheel, back wheel obstacles. So I think Gav got a lot better, just playing wise, like just building that track. I think that's something that we can all improve upon, is like pushing ourselves on just our own builds. That's probably one of the best ways to improve.
Yeah, for sure. Roscoe, it's got to be smooth. Just getting that out there.
Prefers chunky or smooth peanut butter.
Gotta be smooth all day, every day.
You know, I used to only like smooth, but I have dabbled in some chunky peanut butter before.
I accidentally bought some chunky before, and it was okay, but smooth is so much better.
Yeah, it matches
Shut
with
up, Roscoe.
the jelly a little bit better. Definitely.
I've also never tried peanut butter and jelly.
You what?
I've never had peanut butter and jelly.
What, are you not human?
It's not something people in Ireland eat ever.
You don't have jelly, but you have
We
peanut
have
butter.
jelly, but we call it jam. But
But you don't
just,
put it with
like,
peanut butter.
I feel like if I put it with peanut butter, my parents would probably stop talking.
What?
Because that just is such a weird combination. I couldn't do it.
No, it's great. Try it out next time. Tell me how it goes.
No,
Please.
I don't think I'm going to try that.
Please
Yeah,
try it.
as Hook says, it's an American thing. You guys can do you. I'm not getting on board with that kind of shit.
It's only an American thing? No, you guys are high. What are you talking about?
Nah, man.
Love peanut butter and jelly. Like, you don't
I
need
can't
that
be the
much
only
jelly
one
or
that thinks-
jam on it.
I can't be the only one that thinks peanut butter and jelly sounds like the world's worst combination.
Yeah. I think
I
you
feel
should
like I'm pissing
experiment
off a
with
lot of
it.
American people.
I think you got to experiment with it. Everybody over there in the UK, try it out. Try out some peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jam.
That just sounds so wrong,
PB and
man.
J. They're always
know, I
drunk
feel like-
instead. That's right.
I feel like
you're
I'll
high.
get home like really drunk one night and I'll try it.
Okay. Okay. Good. Fair enough. Okay, I'm gonna talk about one more track and then we'll wrap this up here. So last one I have is Childhood. This one is by Caveman Dave, and this is an
yes.
amazing back wheel only track that I would give an S rating to, because it bring back a lot of nostalgia with Legos. It's completely comprised of Lego pieces and like toy soldiers. Really simple decoration, but really tough driving line that I want to get a better run on. That I feel like
I saw a video of it on YouTube,
and Preda
it's
got a
way out
0
of-
fault.
It's way out of my skill range, but fuck, that looked good.
It looks really good, and the driving line's even better, I think. And it's so simple that I was impressed. Caveman Dave made some a Lego track, so good shit with that one, Dave.
Yeah, for
Really
sure.
enjoyed it. Check out Preda's run. I'll probably add that actually on to the video when I edit this. I'll show you guys that run while we're talking about it. But did you ever play with Legos?
Oh god, yeah. Oh, I love Legos.
Obsessed with Legos? I remember in
Like,
5th grade we had these assignments where we would build like these little machines out of Legos, like moving parts and
we
stuff out of
did
Legos.
something similar.
Yeah, that was really fun, and it reminded me of Jamaican's track Child's Play. How, you're shrunk down into like somebody's bedroom, and there's a bunch of kids' toys, and the background has.
What was it?
Do you remember Child's Play? That track that
Yeah,
Jamaican made?
I hated Child's Play, but there was a level 1 version called Shrunken Master.
Oh
and
yeah,
that was the first ever ninja track I passed on Fusion, ever. It was
Yeah.
the first ever ninja track I ever passed, and that track was so good. because it didn't use any of the DLC objects from what's it called? Awesome Level Max. And when I first started doing ninjas, I was still on 360, so I couldn't get Awesome Level Max.
Mhm.
So I was trying to find ninjas that didn't have any of the DLC objects from that, and that was one of them. And that track was amazing.
Awesome, man. I have a bunch of other tracks that I could talk about, but I'm not going to. I think we've gone well over our time limit for today. I think we've gone at least an hour and a half of like actually when we started talking. So I am gonna hand it over to you one last time. Todd, do you have anything else that you got, like questions for me or the community, or any shout outs at all?
Fucking big shout out to Professor Hojo, who is currently working on a track on Evo, and that shit is going to be so good. Just big shout out to everyone who's actually still playing the game, people who haven't left yet. Good to see. Even if you're not playing the game, it's nice to see people still hanging around the community.
Exactly. I love it too. If you guys just chill.
We need that.
Yeah, if you guys are
Even
just
if you're
chilling
not
in the
playing
stream.
just chill.
Yeah, not playing, man. It really does help having all the support. And standing on
Absolutely.
Legos really hurts. Yes, Dave.
Yes,
That might be
Legos
one of the most
so-
painful things.
Big shout out to Hook for being Hook. Yeah, correct.
Yes, exactly.
Big
Well,
shout out to Hook for being a young god at Siege.
dude, yes. I actually was trying that out a little bit yesterday. We gotta play some of that, Todd. Hook.
Hit me up whenever you want to play Siege.
I know
I'm good to
Scott.
go.
I got Scott to get it on PC. So
Does he
we'll,
have it on? Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh, you're on PC, aren't you?
yeah. So I switched over to PC. I just got to figure out the keyboard. It's gonna take me a little bit, but I like it
You
a
have
lot.
it on
Man.
Xbox as well.
Yeah, I got an Xbox.
Cool. We could definitely play some.
Yeah. But thanks for chilling out, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Todd, thank you so much for coming on, man. Keep it up with
All good.
the Discord. Stay in touch. Please let me know whenever you release the new Evo track. I'll be jumping
do.
back and forth on Evo for sure. And shout out to Cab
Sweet.
for always being our backup here. I know it's a little bit late for him, and he had to bounce a little bit early. That's totally
Yeah, it's all
fine.
good.
It's all good with that. But yeah, thanks everybody, and see you guys next time. Peace.
See you after, guys.